Do you believe in Stephen Vogt? The 30-year-old is having a breakout season. He is currently second in the American League in both batting average and RBIs. It's early, but Vogt is on a path to the Midsummer Classic. Last night, he had his first career grand slam. And then in the ninth, came within inches of tying the game. Tonight, Vogt and the A's will try to even up this four-game series with the Twins. A's, Twins, coming up next. Fans are coming in. It's a cool and breezy night in Minneapolis. We're at Target Field getting set for Game 2 of the four-game series. Big night last night for Stephen Vogt, and tonight the A's will send Jesse Chavez to the mound for his third start. So Game 2 of this four-game series, A's trying to even up the series with a win. It's the A's and the Twins coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. You saw Stephen Vogt. He's got 3 home runs in 2 games. Second in the league in hitting, Ray, and it's real simple. He's red hot right now.
And we believe. We believe in Stephen Vogt. And we should, because he's doing everything, and I mean everything. We talk about him swinging the bat as he did last night and has done in this road trip. A couple of home runs in Texas. It just seemed like lefty-righty. It did not matter. He would just keep hitting home runs. And, of course, last night, his first ever career grand slam in the first inning. And, man, did he come oh so close to the ninth inning. Happened to be a double. But Stephen Vogt, the most important thing about him, he played right and first base last year. He's so happy to be behind the plate. All we want to talk about is his offense. He can throw. He can do the job behind the plate as well.
Last night, the Twins had 8 runs on 13 hits, but their 3, 4, 5 hitters were 1 for 12. Ray, it was the bottom of the order that just killed the Athletics.
Tom Bernansky, the hitting coach, the former Twin, I mentioned that to him, and he said it's about time. They have done nothing in the bottom part of the batting order. I said thank you. Why last night? 9 hits in the bottom third of the batting order. They were hitting everything. It seemed like they set the table for the top. They didn't really have to, because they just kept doing it at the bottom part of the batting order, and that was the difference in the game last night. When you get that number of hits in the bottom third of the batting order, pretty good chance you're going to win, even though the A's did score 7 runs.
All right, pitching matchup tonight, Jesse Chavez against the rookie Trevor May. We saw Trevor May make his major league debut against the A's last year. So that's your pitching matchup for Game 2 of the series. Up next, we'll head back to the A's pregame live studios for a sports update. And then after that, back to Target Field for lineups and first pitch. Minneapolis, overcast skies, and it has cooled off significantly, and there's some concern over some rain coming later in the evening. Should not affect tonight's game, but maybe a different story tonight after the game. And the weather right now is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission is free. Visit online for park hours at beachboardwalk.com. 65 degrees and cooling off, and 20 miles per hour are the winds. So that kind of night in the Midwest in early May. So crowd still filing in for game 2 of this 4-game series. The Twins have just taken the field with the all-white uniforms. And here's the A's lineup. That young man right there, Billy Burns, is going to lead things off in center field. Simeon will play short. Reddick and right, Butler the DH, Vogt will catch. Then Davis, Laurie, Canna, and Sogard. That's the same lineup as last night.
Another right-hander for the Twins starting tonight, right-hander Trevor May, who last season made his major league debut against the Athletics. This year, making his 5th start. He is 2-1. The start against the A's, he was not very good. This year, 3 walks in 20 and 3rd innings. How about 7 walks for him last year? And his start in pitching just 2 innings. So the right-hander, the A's very familiar with him. See if they can score off of him early, as he did last night against Phil Hughes.
Defense for the Twins, familiar, as in same as last night. Escobar, Schaefer, and Hunter in the outfield. Plouffe, Santana, Dozier, Mauer in the infield. Kurt Suzuki does the catching. So a disappointing loss last night for the A's. They'll try to bounce back tonight. Paul Molitor has his Minnesota Twins playing very good baseball. Look at the record at home, 10-4. Overall, they've won 5 in a row. They've won 8 out of 10 rain. They're 2 games over 500, so they are feeling pretty good about themselves after starting the season 1-6.
And it's amazing, as we mentioned last night, something that Paul Molitor did not want to do after 7 games, and that was have a meeting. But he thought it was important, and look how they've played since then. But, you know, for a young man who's in the Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, and to have the career, he said basically he didn't think he's going to get a chance to manage. He's 58, and normally at that age, although it seems very young, even at that age, but he's been in the Twins organization and didn't think that Ron Gardenhire would ever leave following Tom Kelly, but he did, and he's manager now and doing a great job.
May's first pitch to Burns. He pops it, headed to the seats, and foul.
Surprised he got a fastball.
Yeah.
He's been hacking at the first pitch now for 4 consecutive games, and this one does not reach base.
So a quick strike to Billy Burns. Curve and a good one. A's come in with an 11-16 record, and they are 7-7 on the road.
May possesses all the pitches.
Line drive, left field. That's a base hit down the line. Burns is going to try for 2. No, he's not, as he puts the brakes on and then hustles back to first. So again, Billy Burns leads off the ball game with a base hit.
Pep asked Ty Waller last night, first base coach, talking to Billy Burns right now, when he did bunt late. That 2-strike perfect bunt. As a fastball, surprised again that he got that kind of a pitch to hit after a very good curveball, but slapped it down the left field line. This time Escobar not able to get to the ball. But I asked Ty, and he said, well, the clock, the numbers, Hughes was pretty quick, and that was in the 6th inning, and he did not attempt to run. That's when Simeon lined out to shortstop.
So here is Simeon, 271 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs for Marcus.
And Billy Burns does have the green light again, which means that he can run at will. Simeon did a good job taking a few pitches last night when Burns did not run.
I just think at some point Billy Burns, his best asset is his speed, and we all want to see him use it at the big league level by stealing bags. 1-1 the count.
It's interesting too, and you know, players and coaches are pretty honest, and broadcasters, as we talked to, and they were pretty much saying that Kurt Suzuki has not been given much of a chance to throw out base runners, which means the pitchers have not been doing a very good job holding the runners, because it's usually about that. But yet at a time when you most expect to see a runner go, he does not. Then it kind of makes you wonder, and maybe Phil Hughes' move was quick enough that Billy Burns didn't want to try it.
Burns with a little lean. And May holds on to it, and then timeout is called at home plate.
And they have the pitch out, the throw over, the slide step, and the hold. And that was the hold where pitcher just holds the ball, seeing if the runner's going to commit.
There he goes, and he got a good jump. Suzuki's throw, not in time. Burns had it stolen. He got a good jump, and a stolen base for Billy Burns. And that's what we like to see.
Exactly. He got a great jump, and Kurt Suzuki, there comes a time, and he tried to hurry as much as he could, but still absolutely no chance to throw him out. And I guess you could say that's as best as he could do, and really have to put it on the pitcher.
Fastball high. Now 3-1 to Semien with Reddick in the on-deck circle.
Don't look back. I mean, that's the one thing. And Ty said, I've been trying to talk to him about when you're stealing a base, you go head down straight to the bag. If you hear contact, at that point, you pick up the ball.
Semien skies one to center. Jordan Schaefer is under it. Burns thinking about tagging, and he'll bluff and stay at second. So remember how we talked about Billy Burns and his head first slide, and sliding a little late. Not this time.
See, he looked back a couple of times, did start his slide a little bit earlier, and no possibility, although the tag was held just in case he overslid the bag and wasn't pushed off.
So with one out, Reddick will hit. Reddick was 1 for 3 with a couple of walks and a couple of runs scored last night. It was an 8-7 Twins win. A's had 13 hits last night. They had 3 doubles, a couple of home runs, so they had plenty of offense.
Glenn Perkins faced 5 batters in the ninth. 2 lefties that he faced got hits. The 3 righties made out.
Fastball is high.
You can see how May is getting under his pitches and elevating the fastball out of the strike zone. Actually, when Semien made contact, kind of went back to the first year Target Field Open. Sounded like the ball was going to go upper deck. And the center fielder had to come in.
Okay, we know better now.
Yeah, the acoustics are outstanding for hitters.
2-0 to Reddick with Billy Butler waiting in the on-deck circle. Let's break down for May. Lots of fastballs. So fastball change are the 2 biggest pitches. He's a big kid, 6'5", 240 pounds, and he's just 25 years old.
He will throw a sinker, the 2-seam fastball that most pitchers have, plus a little bit of a cutter.
He was part of a fairly big trade. Remember, it was Ben Revere.
That's right.
The Twins traded Ben Revere to the Phillies in December of 2012, and they got Vance Worley, a right-handed pitcher, and this young man, Trevor May, back. Popped up. Coming in is Escobar toward the line in left field, and he's got it. So 2 outs as Trevor May trying to work out of a first inning jam.
That'd have been a great time for Josh Reddick to get his at least a hit in 13th consecutive game. His 12th, so just did not catch up to the fastball. Stephen Vogt asking Reddick as he went back in the dugout about his fastball and asking about movement. They know the velocity.
So here is Butler. Trevor May was ticketed for AAA out of spring training. In fact, he actually went to AAA, but Ricky Nolasco had a little bit of a sore elbow at the beginning of the year, and Nolasco was placed on the 15-day disabled list with a bit of a sore right elbow, and Trevor May was brought up to the big leagues. He actually never pitched in AAA, so he's been in the rotation. Placed on Nolasco, and Nolasco now back. And Torrey Hunter got a glove on it. It popped out, and he banged his arm pretty hard against that side wall. Let's hope he's okay.
Well, there's just absolutely very little, if any, foul territory. And first base umpire, Glenn Fagan, running down and hits right on top of the wall. He's there, but banged the elbow, the left elbow, and what we hope is a padded. You can see the pad there, but watch the left elbow as he tried to hang on, could not. And Hanley Ramirez of the Boston Red Sox ran hard into the wall at Fenway Park last night, and he's going to miss a few games. He banged in it real hard. Well, thankfully there's padding, because that's a brick wall. That's a concrete wall that extends down the line, so the padding very thick that Torre could go for it. Looks like he's all right.
Fastball low, 2-1. Butler hitting .257 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs. He was 1 for 5 with a run scored last night. And that one hit into right field, and that's a base hit. Here comes Torrey Hunter. They're waving Burns. He'll score without a throw, and Billy Butler with a 2-out RBI hit to give the A's a 1-0 lead.
Well, you love to see the hit by Billy Butler going opposite field to drive in the run, but just as important to watch Torrey Hunter. A little cut fastball, slider action that stayed away, and Billy Butler saw the big hole on the right side, took it that direction. Look at the hole, and that's perfectly hit in that direction. But Torrey Hunter came up to throw, but then realized that there's the speedster Billy Burns, and he had absolutely no chance, and the only possibility might be to overthrow the cutoff man, put another runner in scoring position. That's what speed will do to help, and hurt a defense but help an offense.
And the stolen base comes into play for the A's here in the first. Butler picks up his 13th RBI, and Stephen Vogt is the hitter. And that one called the ball. 1-1 the count. Kurt Suzuki, I think, turns around and asks Todd Tishner exactly where that pitch was. Sliced down the left field line, but foul. Vogt, the big night last night, 3 hits, a grand slam, knocked in a run in the 9th. And he is now second in the league in batting average at .372. He's second in RBIs. What a start for Stephen Vogt. So 2-2 the count. Vogt leads the American League in on-base percentage, second in slugging percentage. He is all over the leaderboards.
Cap, as we detailed in our open, everything's about his offense, and really I think he's done a tremendous job handling a pitching staff. Throwing has been great. The footwork, and a very rare called third strike.
So the A's get a run on 2 hits. Billy Butler, 2-out RBI hit. Bottom of the first coming up. A's 1. Twins coming to bat. enjoying it. Let's look at the lineup tonight for the Twins. Same as last night. Dozier, Hunter, Mauer, Plouffe, Suzuki, Vargas, Escobar, Schaefer, and Santana.
And Jesse Chavez making the start in the rotation as he was last year. And if he could duplicate what he did last year against these Twins, outstanding pitching for 7 innings, striking out 9. For Jesse, 7th game, 3rd start, as he has been in the rotation against the Angels a couple of times down in Anaheim and then at the Coliseum. It's a total of 11 innings and 6 runs that he's given up.
First pitch to Dozier is fouled just below us. The scramble is on. As always, it's the second person who gets it. Young lady just walking by, looking for her seat, food in her hand, and she grabs it. Right at Burns, hit hard, but Burns grabs it, so Dozier's retired. Let's look at the defense for the A's tonight. McKenna, Burns, and Reddick in the outfield. Laurie, Simeon, Sogar, Davis on the infield. Vogt is your catcher.
I was thinking about the olden days in Cleveland, the old mistake by the Lake Municipal Stadium that never had any people, and foul ball would go up. People say, well, we'll just pick it up on the way out. Yeah. Literally, they did that in Baltimore. We could go tomorrow.
They did,
with no fans in the stands. Yeah. I wonder if they actually said, please return the baseball like they used to do in the amateur leagues, foul ball, and turn it back in.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about it in the course of a game, and I don't have an average number for you, but there's got to be 40, 50 foul balls. Oh, yeah. Probably more than that. I don't even know. I'm just guessing. Base hit left field. Yeah, they had a picture of Chris Davis's home run ball, and it was just laying there.
Yeah, just think if you got your first hit or your first home run, and
there it is.
There's that fastball running back into the wheelhouse of Torrey Hunter. Remember last night he nailed a fastball inside corner for a 3-run home run, and it's a solid single in this at bat.
So Joe Mauer steps in.
I don't think his left shoulder is bothering him after banging into the wall down right field. Jesse's a ground ball pitcher, and that can work well for him in this game.
Joe Mauer was 0 for 4 last night. Mauer does not have a home run. He's got 7 doubles and a triple. Very good on base percentage. Lays off that high fastball. So Jesse Chavez looking for his first win of the year. A's are looking for their 12th win of the year. Swing and a miss. Good fastball.
That's a great fastball. I mean, that's velocity. And Jesse, I mean, you look at his size. Somebody said he's only about 160 pounds. I said, yeah, but check out his fastball and his cutter and his good curveball and the way he works quickly on the mound. An outstanding pitcher.
Close pitch, good spot. 2-2 the count.
Like a number of players, Jesse Chavez has been fighting the bug for about 2 weeks. So he's made a couple of starts not being 100%, yet been pitching great. Unfortunately, just no run support, which kind of was his MO last year.
Another close pitch. Boy, just moving off the plate a little bit.
Had to be just a bit, not much, and Stephen Vogt decided to hold it. Now you figure it's maybe strike him out, throw him out. Good fastball and get the strikeout. I think Paul Baldish has got to be figuring Joe Mauer is going to find a way to put the bat on the ball and make contact, and if Torrey Hunter does run, it would be trying to stay out of a double play.
And he goes. And a swing and a miss. Throw to second base is there, and that's a double play. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Nicely done by the Athletics. And the Twins do not score. Second inning coming up. It's the A's 1 and the Twins nothing. Are taking on the Dynamo right now. It's on Comcast Sportsnet Plus, which can be found on Comcast channels 105 and 785, DirecTV channel 698-1, Dish network 448, and AT&T channel 768. If you can't find Comcast Sportsnet Plus, log on to csncalifornia.com or call your local cable provider. Here in Minneapolis, A's with a 1-0 lead as they come to bat in the second. First pitch to Ike Davis, fouled to the screen. Davis, Laurie, Canna here in the second inning. Ike Davis was 1 for 3 last night. A little bit inside. It was a 2-out RBI hit for Billy Butler in the first inning to get the A's the run.
And really, Billy Butler, and that's a good point, Cat, because he was using the whole field like we saw him with Kansas City for so many years. And I think he was getting that pull mode a little bit, and back tonight at least going to the opposite field. Was this a swing? Because I know the home plate umpire called it a strike, and I guess he did. But see, there's the body, although if bat might have gone through far enough, but definitely the body did.
He skies this one toward Dozier, the second baseman, and Dozier reaches up, makes the catch.
Stephen Vogt, we've talked about his offense, but check out the footwork of Stephen Vogt. Fastball to Mauer, bam, quick, accurate, quick tag. Marcus Semien tagged hard Torrey Hunter, but what a great quick throw by Stephen Vogt and a quick tag at second by Marcus Semien. And Torrey Hunter is 40 years old, and Marcus Semien, you might have been saying, "Are you okay?"
I think he did.
Because he tagged him hard. Here's Marcus playing big league baseball, mid-20s, but watch Stephen Vogt. Watch the footwork. This is the key. Right there, gets it, and right over the top throwing. And remember, during spring training, because Stephen Vogt last year played right field and first base, he had to learn how to throw again as a catcher. And you say, well, that's impossible, but it's true, because what happens, there's a certain way you throw as a catcher, and that's four-seam right over the top and the arm angle. And he got away from that as an outfielder because you wind up more, and at first base is a little shorter. But as a catcher, it's the footwork and then getting back in the catch. And he loves to catch, even though he takes a lot of balls off his body. Foul balls all over the place, but he's doing a great job.
Remember the late great Thurman Munson? He used to sidearm it down the second.
Thurman Munson. He was the only catcher I ever saw who wore not only one batting glove but two. On his throwing hand, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "It's cold. I want to keep my hand warm. I don't care about throwing." Yeah, I mean, he had a quick sidearm release. You're right, and the ball it started shortstop.
Yeah, and he would bend down and get right in,
sink right back. But good fastball from this right-hander, Suzuki inside, and there's the heater inside corner, and a good one from Trevor May. So his fastball is good. He's throwing more strikes, and he's won a couple of games in the few walks, which is kind of prototypical for a Twins pitcher, whether it's Rick Anderson or now Neil Allen, the pitching coach.
He looks a little different than he did last year on August 9th when he made his major league debut at the Coliseum, and he really scuffled. He walked a whole bunch, as Ray said earlier, 7. He did not strike anybody out, and he sort of had that look like, what the heck is going on here? But the Twins have high hopes for him. Got a chance to be a pretty good pitcher.
Well, when you have righties in your rotation, they have to be good, because usually you like to mix a few lefties in. Tommy Malone was in the rotation, but was optioned at AAA. And as Paul Molitor said, that was very hard to tell him because he thought he might go to the bullpen. But if you're a starting pitcher, usually if you're optioned to AAA, they want you to start, which means keep the arm strength built up, because something happens, they want to bring you back up instead of in the bullpen where you're not stretched out as much as far as the number of pitches.
So 3-1 the count to Mark Canna. And Canna takes a fastball right there, 3-2.
How did he let that go?
I don't know. Good question.
Maybe he was looking for the fastball and he got it and couldn't believe he got it, but last night reacted on a 2-1 fastball inside and hit it in the second deck. See, he's thinking about taking the fastball. He's taking some extra time.
Yeah, he is taking extra time.
And the pace of the game just slowed down with him thinking too much.
Hits it hard right at third. Plouffe stays with it. Throws in time, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Trevor May. Bottom of the second coming up. It'll be Plouffe, Suzuki, and Vargas. 1-0 the A's lead.
TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Trevor Plouffe leading it off here in the bottom of the second. 5 home runs, 15 RBIs for Plouffe.
How about that pitch? Oh. That is so special of a pitch that we've talked about it with pitchers can do. Watch this ball. It's like a screwball or a left-hander. Watch the ball, whoop, right back on the corner. And as a hitter, you say out of strike zone, no chance. Between the cutter going away and that sinker coming back, it's hard to hit.
And good movement that time, and he strikes out Plouffe. Chavez, good stuff tonight.
Yeah, stayed away with everything and then came back in. And Stephen Gold moving inside, and there's your movement you're talking about, Kipe, right there, going inside of the corner and kind of no chance. That was kind of one of those late. I better swing because it's a strike, but I don't have a chance, and maybe I can make contact.
Often looks to me like hitters, when Jesse Chavez is on, it's like he's throwing harder than they think.
Yeah.
He must have a little extra giddy up. I mean, and that one was 95, but generally he's 92, 93, but he will get some swing throughs on his fastball.
I don't know anybody we talk to that does not admire the way Jesse Chavez pitches. I mean, they just rave about it. But as we have talked about, his versatility, his ability to pitch in so many different ways, the bullpen, the rotation, he becomes a very valuable member. And you look at the battery tonight of Chavez and Vogt, two guys with other organizations. They come here to get a chance, and they're both stars.
And Suzuki waves at that pitch, 1-2.
And there's the cutter. Looked good, kept running. Watch this. It starts right on the corner. Watch it just caked off from the Suzuki, and that's like, how can I do that?
Setting up outside again. And foul tip, held on by Vogt. Another strikeout.
Well, we mentioned April 9th last year, and Jesse Chavez, Phil Hughes on the mound for the Twins. The A's scored 4 in the first inning, but Jesse Chavez had it all working. Fastball in, the sinker, the backdoor cut fastball, cutter inside. I mean, he had everything. 9 strikeouts, 7 innings left with a 7-1 lead. Unfortunately, the Twins tied it. The A's won in extra innings, but 94 pitches for Jesse. That is a game. No walks, 9 strikeouts. You should put a W beside his name, but unfortunately, it's a no decision.
Facing Kenny's Vargas, 224, couple of home runs. Vargas had a couple of hits last night. Scored a couple of runs. He was in the middle of the action. Trying to get going. But the Twins would love to see him start looking a little bit more like the hitter they had last year. He came up last year. He got the resemblance to David Ortiz.
Maybe people are calling him Kenny instead of Kenny's.
Kenny's? I wrote the S down. Rolls over on that one. Easy play for Sogard. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning with a couple of strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. Third inning coming up. 1-0 game.
Suite is located above the first base bag and includes an extensive high-end food that you will not believe. It's also a beverage package featuring chicken kebabs, caprese sandwiches, sausages, sliders, salads, desserts, soda, water, beer, wine, and more. For more information right now, please call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/president, and you will enjoy it immensely. The President's Suite.
First pitch to Sogard, leading off the top of the third, is a strike from Trevor May.
Twins take care of us, the press area, the broadcasters, sure with some nice food. That Jake ate all of it, but we'll have some left over. But
who's Jake?
Jake's the man over here, our stat man.
Oh, okay.
Stat man Jake. But I asked him if he had anything to eat, and he said, I already have. And I looked back there, and he's right. He ate everything. But that's all right.
Very well. Anything left?
Twins do a good job, but it's not quite like the President's Suite in Oakland. That has to be phenomenal. There's Jake.
Jake said, I just want to sit here
and
help you guys out and not be bothered.
Now, Jake's dad works over at the Twins, and Bert Blyleven said, I work his dad a lot. He said, I want everything that he can give me.
Sogard, right. It'll fall in front of Hunter. Sogard with a hit.
Torrey, a little bit of a late jump on that ball. Surprised he didn't catch it. Glad he did not. That Sogard could start this third inning with a leadoff single, but kind of hung up for him. Nice swing by Sogard, hooking it down the line. Seemed like he was going to hang up long enough. Torrey Hunter just came up short and kept the ball from going by him. They give him a lot of credit. He played unbelievably in center field, winning 9 Gold Gloves and moved to right field.
So here's Burns. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Burns singled, stole a base, scored a run in the first inning.
Outfield shading Burns just the way he's been hitting. Infield at third in front of the bag, but in center and left they are playing very, very shallow.
Inside with a fastball to even the count 1-1.
Okay, if you'd like to think that maybe a hitter could look out and see how shallow they're playing, you try to change your game, but the game for Billy Burns is exactly what he's been doing, trying to slap the ball, utilize his speed. In this case, trying to get Sogard to second base. Look at center and left, though, how shallow they're playing. Not a lot of space in that area.
Quick throw, keeping Sogard close.
They have to be thinking hit and run with that many throw overs. I mean, Sogard is not getting that big of a lead. But one stolen base already by Billy Burns, so maybe May is more concerned about his own delivery to the plate and quickness.
Bounce towards short, and that's going to be a double play. Santana takes it himself. They got the speedy Burns on the 6-3 double play. Probably the only place that Burns could hit it where he would get doubled up.
You're exactly right, because the shortstop, Santana, if he flips it, takes extra time, but instead took his own play at second and a strong throw. Sogard you see getting down quickly because of the throw coming from the shortstop.
2 outs here. Simeon, first pitch curveball, a strike. Simeon hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning. Played every inning of every game so far this year, Marcus Simeon. This is game number 28 for the A's.
So 2,632 minus 28, and how many more does he have to play to catch Ripken?
He's probably feeling pretty good playing.
Yeah, that's right.
Every day, but I would imagine at some point fairly soon Bob Melvin will get him a day off.
Managers will not let players come close to Cal Ripken Jr.'s record.
No, that'll never happen.
And it got to the point that managers, other than his father, Cal Sr., would say, I'm not going to be the one to stop it. He's going to play. If he wants to tell me he doesn't want to play, that's fine. But
it gets to a point where you don't want to be the guy who stopped it.
And then also when he played shortstop, you didn't want to be a runner who ran in hard and hurt him.
Sure.
So when he moved to third, it actually made it easier for base runners going into second. But nobody wanted to upend him at second and hurt him and have him miss a game.
3-2 pitch, not close. Simeon with the walk.
But to watch Ripken play the way he did and play as aggressively as he did, if there was an altercation, a bench clearing brawl, he was right in the middle of it. Sure. He didn't shy away from anything.
And we always do this record will never be broken. And certainly I think there are some that won't. But that record is at the top of the list of records that'll never be broken.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I mean, somebody could come along and break the hits record or obviously the home run record. I think the wins by Cy Young, I mean, that's not going to happen. But I think there's a small handful of records that it's not going to happen. And that one, I mean, come on.
Well, we'll give Jake a little. He's got his calculator. 2,632 divided by 162 games, and that's the number of years consecutively he played without taking a day off.
It's like 15 years, right? Something like that.
Jake's getting his phone out. He's got his calculator on his phone. But yeah, that's exactly what it was, and it was expected. I mean, Mike Bordick went over and he's going to move Cal to third base, and Bordy said, "I'm not doing that," and his dad said, "I'll take care of Cal." Moved him to third, and the rest is history.
1-1 the count to Reddick.
Jake gave us the note. It's over 16 years. I want some exact. I mean, days? No, over 16 is fine, Jake. But, you know, guys are fortunate to play 10 years. And here's a guy who played 16 years and every day.
Yeah.
And for many of those, especially early, he never missed an inning, much less a game.
2-1 now to Reddick, so Kurt Suzuki will have a chat with his young right-hander.
One of the things the A's hitters have to think about tonight, and they see the elevation of the fastball from this right-hander, is not be overly aggressive and swing at the pitch, which is very difficult to get on top unless your name's Evan Gattis.
Reddick hit a fly ball to left field in the first inning. And now it's 3-1.
Let it go. Come on, Trev.
May with 1 walk, 2 strikeouts so far. And that one hit high in the air to left. Escobar under it. Escobar has it. Side retired. So hitting a walk, nothing else. Double play hurt the A's. So we're going to the bottom of the third. Reddick's not happy. A's leading 1-0. That make a difference. Visit csncalifornia.com and vote. The winner receives $20,000 for his or her school. A's 1, Twins nothing. Some A's fans in the house tonight. I would say, Ray, if you were an A's fan back in the Bay Area and you were looking at the schedule before the season, said, I wouldn't mind making a trip somewhere. Coming to Minneapolis would be a good stop. And I say that because downtown Minneapolis, nice, not real big, you can walk around, but the ballpark is just terrific.
That it is, and you don't have to worry about not enjoying some nice weather, because at the Metrodome, not quite anything like this. And as you said, a new football stadium being built there, but they built Target Field and open air. Supposedly the seats are heated, so if it does get a little bit cold, fans aren't really bothered that much. And
it's just the way it's set up. You can get from point A to point B. The concourses are big.
Yeah. And
elevators are easy to find. Just a lot of, they just seem to have pieced it together nicely.
Well, I think the point you made about being downtown, a downtown stadium where people really, it's ideal because if you have a stadium and you work downtown, you can have something to eat and go to the game, or go to the game and have some food to eat, watch the game, go home.
And there's a lot of restaurants and bars right around the ballpark. It's a nice setup.
Yeah. And it's a very small area in which they built this stadium. Acreage wise, it's not that huge, which they tried to condense it all in a small area, which they did a great job.
In the air again. This time it's Canna. Canna gets back. He's got it. Schaefer's retired.
Cap, I think about Seattle, which is the next stop, and the great setup they have. That's a beautiful stadium as well, and especially with the kind of the carport effect that if it rains, they just close it and the elements are still there. But they didn't have enough room to do that here.
No,
I mean,
you
have to take the same space of the stadium and extend it beyond, and there's just not enough room to do it. And it would almost have to have been similar to a Rogers Center type retractable dome. Maybe Chase Field in Arizona, but
yeah, you would not have been able to slide the roof off like they do in Seattle, or maybe Houston the same way.
That's true.
That's way down the left field line up top. It'd be fun up there watching the ball game from high above. And I think in left field, where there's two levels, isn't that sort of in honor of old Metropolitan Stadium, where there was 2 levels out in left field, and those 2 levels were really there in left field for the Vikings game.
Yeah.
Vikings played at the Met.
And of course where Harmon Killebrew hit him.
And he would bash him out there. So you get and it's chilly tonight. You got fire pits up there, so they got everything you need.
Yeah, they've done a nice job here. Some great players. The players that have played here wanted to stay here.
Jesse Chavez doing a nice job as he's settling in. He's got 4 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. His first career grand slam came with 2 outs. And then in the 9th inning, watch how close Vogt comes to tying the game. It would have been a 2-run homer. Instead, it was an RBI double, and the A's lost 8-7. So that was a 2-out hit as well. So quite a night for Stephen Vogt, but I'm sure he'll be disappointed that it was in a loss by the Athletics.
Well, just as important as we talked last night, Kai, I could think of now 4, counting Perkins last night, 4 lefties that Vogt has faced and has dominated. So it's, the fact that he's doing great against the righties as he did Phil Hughes in the first inning, but lefties come in to try to get him out. They have been unsuccessful.
And the A's recently have been facing a lot of right-handed starters.
All 4 in this series, and of course King Felix on Sunday in Seattle. So there'll be 5 of the 7 games this week for sure.
Butler sounded like he broke his bat, but he gets it into center field. Billy Butler's 2 for 2.
So a base hit to right field, base hit to center field. That's Billy Butler. Slider down, good pitch off the end of the bat. It did crack the bat. See the splinters, but Billy Butler able to shoot it up the middle. Love to hear the crack of the bat, especially to get a base hit out of it.
So here is Vogt, who struck out looking to end the first. And he's now with 4 hits off Trevor May. And that pitch is low. There's the breakdown. So 12 at bats against left-handers with 4 hits. I heard somebody on TV make a very good point the other day, talking about hitters and hitting good pitchers, and that's always the kind of a question asked: can the guy hit good pitching? And that led to the talk about hitting late in games, because basically when the game is in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, a hitter is probably facing a reliever, and nowadays most teams have very good relievers.
Yep.
So hitting late in the game, I think, is a lot more difficult now than it was 15, 20 years ago, because everybody's throwing hard out of the bullpen, it seems like.
And you know, just like we've talked about, very few complete games. So
sure,
you may see a starter 3 times if you're lucky, maybe 2, and then you start getting the specialization out of the bullpen. You in a night of a 9-inning game, you could see 3, maybe 4 different pitchers.
And how many teams don't have a tough left-hander in their bullpen?
Right.
I think everybody's got at least one.
They should have.
You should have. Or one that it's just a tough at bat for a left-handed hitter.
In case of the Rangers, they have only one, and use them early, then it's done.
Out at second, on to first, not quite in time. So fielder's choice for Vogt.
Stephen Vogt still has the speed, and considering the surgery on his right foot, and he's protecting that, still has wearing the steel plate in his right foot. And get it going, big boy. And he does. He busted hard. I told him last night I couldn't believe he got pinch run for in the 9th inning. He said, well, you see me running in the second on the double. So he was aware of that. And the more he catches, it get a bit slower down the line, but he plays hard, which, you know, the old saying, give me a hard 90, and it's 90 feet down the line, and he does it.
Going 1 to Davis, who popped out in the 2nd inning. The Rangers are leading the Astros early on. The Rangers scored 4 in the 1st inning. It's now Texas 5, Houston 1 in the top of the 3rd. It's Wandy Rodriguez for the Rangers and Scott Feldman for the Astros. Rangers won last night 2-1, so they're trying to cool off the Astros.
Trying to get everybody else in the Western Division to feel good about themselves.
That's true.
Western Division in the American League, 5 teams. The Astros with a big lead, but a lot of teams, all it takes. And A.J. Hinch knows, as Paul Molitor, they're off to a good start. The Twins are, but you know, every manager knows this is still early in the season, and as long as you just don't panic and you feel you can be competitive, have a good team, you're going to be right back in the middle of it.
The Astros continue to have the best record in the American League so far, at 18-8. Mariners and the Angels will get underway a little bit later. Paxton for Seattle, Richards for the Angels. Angels are struggling. They've lost 4 in a row and 6 out of their last 8. Seattle won last night behind Felix Hernandez. Felix went to 5-0. Foul tip, and Kurt Suzuki took that one. See where it got him. Did it hit him in the hand, the glove hand?
It could have. Sometimes it does happen. Yeah, got him in the hand. See, the top of the catcher's mitt when the ball was fouled off the bat changed direction. Instead of going into the pocket, it went off the side and kind of wrenched his hand a little bit.
So he can't be feeling that great right now. And a swinging strikeout by Ike Davis. So Trevor May kept that ball away from Davis, and he finished him off with a good pitch.
Watch again the movement. The two seam right there just starts to move away, and you're seeing more and more. We have seen that in the series. The right-handers to left-handed hitters. The ball just keeps running away, and if you don't drive the ball to the opposite field, just kind of drag the bat through it, you get results like that, and that's what the right-handed pitchers want.
2 outs for Laurie. Laurie struck out swinging in the second inning. Big swing, slices it foul down the right field line.
Something happened last night in that Angels game that you mentioned with Fernando Rodney pitching for the Mariners. Colin Cowgill was thrown out at second to end the game.
Okay.
Mike Zunino, the catcher, and they tried to try to get in scoring position in a 1-run game. Freese had hit a solo home run off Rodney to make it a 1-run game at that point. And they tried to steal to get in scoring position, was thrown out, and that's, from a catcher standpoint, couldn't be a better way to end the game, to throw out a base runner at second. And that's what Zunino did. Made Gary Hughes happy. That's his
bet. Gary Hughes, longtime scout, was seen all the time at the Coliseum.
Raves about the kid named Mike Zunino. He should. Zunino's a good catcher.
Diving play by Plouffe. He's going to go to second, and they get Stephen Vogt there. So Trevor Plouffe takes a hit away from Laurie, and the A's do not score in the top of the fourth. Paul Molitor gets his 3,000th career hit. It was in Kansas City, and it was a triple, folks. He's the only player to get his 3,000th hit with a triple. He finished his career with 3,319 hits. Where does he stand all time? How about in the top 10? That is awesome. Number 9.
What a career. What a career. And to see him managing now, and spring training was down in Florida. Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Fame second baseman, and Paul Molitor managed against each other. 2 Hall of Famers managing. That's pretty good. And you know, Kite, the thing about, think of Ted Williams, late Ted Williams, that sometimes great players don't make very good managers because they expect players to be as good as they were. And Paul Molitor, I think, is going to change that. And because, well, as he said, I'm removed from the game a long time. He went to Hall of Fame 2004 first ballot, which meant 5 years after retirement, and that's when he left the game. But he's been around the game but not in the game to the point of where he is now.
And I know we've talked a lot about Molitor when he first came up. And then you look at those hits, but he was one of the fastest right-handed hitters ever. I mean, he could fly.
Yeah. And no stride. He just had hit home runs and singles and was the igniter for the Brewers.
3-1 pitch is popped up. Simeon coming in on the grass. And Simeon has it. So it tells you there, Jesse Chavez stuff is pretty good, because that was a 3-1 fastball to a pretty good hitter.
And I was just thinking about that, because if a Hall of Fame pitcher comes in the booth between innings and says, Jesse Chavez is pretty good, he's got great stuff. And then, of course, Bert Blyleven coming over in between innings. I'm very impressed about the way he works, how quickly he works, and also strikes, the changeup, and great assortment of pitches.
First pitch to Torrey Hunter. A little bit outside. There's Bert. 20th year as a Twins broadcaster. Had some great seasons here in Minnesota. Nice play by Chavez at first. Throws to first. Nice play on the mound, I should say. Throws to first.
Well, you know, I asked Bert Blyleven, I said, when you look up on the board and you see pitches and pitch counts and all that, and it was Campy and George Middlewell, his catcher of the Twins when they first came up, 1969, and there's the hammer. I mean, he could pitch. And 3,000. And, you know, I was still amazed that it took as long as it did for him to get inducted into Cooperstown. 2011, I think it was his 13th, if not 14th year of eligibility. And I mean, you look at the numbers, and I mean, there they are. World Series, a couple of those, and the no-hitter, strikeouts 3,700. And probably the fact that he only won 287. Only 287. Yeah. You know, that it took him so long. And 60 career shutouts? Come on. Nobody even pitches a complete game, much less a shutout. But he finally did in 2011. Of course, the number retired here. Very emotional night for him when they did that. And as he said, the only problem is, unfortunately, his father passed away before he could see him go in the Hall of Fame. But he said he knew he was watching when he had his induction to Cooperstown. Very deserving for Bert Blyleven.
Sogard, guys, cannot quite get it. Mauer has his first hit in the series. So hit number 2 for the Twins.
Well, just out of the reach of Eric Sogard, two-seam fastball, and Joe Mauer just into right center. I think with Joe Mauer, and unfortunately had enough foul balls off his mask and too many concussions that they did move him to first base, where he would play first when he didn't catch in day games after night games. But I think when you move to first base, it's almost to the point you're moving to a position that they expect home runs at first and third and right and left, up the middle defense. When he was a catcher and what he did offensively, it was great because his job was a catcher. Won a good couple of batting titles, but all of a sudden he moves to first base. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs.
No, he's not.
And that's going to be the biggest difference for him. And you just have to wonder if he's going to try to change his swing and go from a guy who can maybe get a couple of hundred hits and hit for an average, maybe try to hit more home runs because he's at a position to hit home runs.
Tough ballpark to decide I'm going to hit home runs.
Yeah, no, he's not going to pull. He's going to wait a long time. And Jesse's going to throw it by Plouffe again.
5 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. He's been good so far. 5th inning coming up from Target Field. The A's with a 1-0 lead.
More paints on Tuesday, May the 12th, when the A's host the Boston Red Sox. 15,000 fans will walk away with his green and gold fleece blanket that pays homage to Sean Doolittle's signature pose. Get tickets now at athletics.com/tickets. Want to give away? That's a good one. A fleece blanket. Might need one before tonight's game is over.
Chile. Sean Doolittle, another bullpen session today.
Yeah.
He said it was a good day.
Yep.
So continues to get a little bit closer. Coco Crisp may be very close.
As in?
As in, who knows? Yeah. Maybe tomorrow. We don't know. We have not heard anything official. But I wouldn't be surprised if Coco plays at some point in this series. Oh, 0-1 to Mark Canha. You think the pace of play people got their eye on Mark Canha?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They're watching you, Mark. I'm telling you.
And he's going to be getting these letters going to say MLB. He says, "What's this for?" I mean, you make a minimum salary, even though it's quite good, you know, between, you know, you don't want to accrue too many of those letters from MLB. Yeah.
He got the batting glove thing going.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be not moving at all. I mean, when you have to move 2 feet to get back in the batter's box, that's not what you want to be seeing.
Fouls that one back. So 1-2 the count.
With all the statistics, I'd like to find out how many times umpires are asked throughout a game, was that pitch a strike? Canha just did. I mean, if it's that close that you have to swing to protect, you better. Because you don't want to ask him if you're taking strike 3, heading back to the dugout, was that a strike? And the umpire said, yeah, I just called it. But big swing on 2 strikes. That is not uncommon for Mark Canha. And that's when he makes contact, it can travel.
Oh, we just don't want Mark Canha to get fined.
That's right.
All.
That's right.
Hits that one to the right side, hard, but right at Dozier. Canha's out.
And one of the all-time great Minnesota Twins players, of course, the old Met, and here the great Tony Olivo, and still around and around all the time. If he did not have bad knees, I think he's had replacements. The way he could hit, the way he could field and throw. I was talking to him around the batting cage, and I was telling somebody, yeah, he threw me out home. He said, you're not the only one. He said, I threw out a lot of people. I mean, he could throw from right field. Great hitter, batting titles. And Keife would do one thing. If you're a catcher, he had this little waggle where he'd waggle his bat, and you'd hold up your catcher's mitt, and by the time he came back to hit, he'd knock the catcher's mitt off your hand. I mean, he did it unintentionally, but it was his way of getting his timing down. And he would just have the bat in front, just waving it. But as a pitcher started to wind up, he'd take it straight back.
Oh, really?
Straight back. And so you almost could not give a target with your catcher's mitt until he got his hands back in the hitting position. But a great Twin, there he is on the Spanish broadcast. But you know, you're talking about pitchers pitching late in games.
0-2 pitch, Sogard with a hit.
But Tony Olivo was asked, how did you hit Catfish Hunter and some of the great pitchers? And he said, I hit them great because they were so good that I got to face them 4 times.
Good
which
point,
means that they pitch complete games. And when you face a pitcher 4 times, while you might not hit him, you have a pretty good idea how he's going to pitch you. And unlike what we were talking about earlier with the relief specialists coming in and seeing so many different guys, makes hitting very difficult. Tony made it look easy.
And I would think in the decade of the 60s, there were so many great players. Yeah. He was probably overlooked as a hitter.
He was. He really was.
Because there just, I mean, you just start
injuries,
looking at every team, and every team had a couple of great hitters.
But injuries did get to him. Of course, on that team, of course, the great Harmon Killebrew. Bobby Allison.
Want to know to Billy Burns, who has singled and hit into a double play. He singled and scored in the first only run in the game. He was knocked in by Butler.
Well, after last night when 15 runs scored, and tonight 1 run the A's scored with 2 outs the first inning, pitching has dominated tonight's game.
Runner goes. It's grounded slowly. Burns digging for first, and he's out by half a step. But the hit and run was on. Burns had to put it in play, and he really did a pretty good job. It was not an easy pitch.
And when you're given the hit and run sign, that's what you're supposed to do. Although Sogard was looking back, broke his bat, did Billy Burns, but just barely getting the hustling Burns. As yelling get over, which means for the pitcher to get over and cover, didn't have to. But you'll see hitters swing at pitches way out of the strike zone if it's a hit and run, because at least you want to swing the bat.
So it's up to Simeon. See if he can get him home. Curveball is low.
Darren Bush probably saying that's how much you were thrown out by, just about a foot. That's because he was hustling down the line, but the pitch also was inside, way off the plate.
So 2-0 to Simeon. Kurt Suzuki, the veteran, will have a chat. Simeon with a fly ball to center and a walk. Outfield shifted toward right center. And now 3-0. Reddick would be next. 86 pitches for Trevor May. Strike called.
Another huge hole on the right side again, and Marcus Semien has been known to hit a ball that direction.
So a fastball in. Maybe Trevor May not wanting him to hit it there.
Well, that's a good point, because you try to pitch to the defense, and he knows that his defense is set up, although in the outfield slightly to right field, but in the infield expecting him to pull. If you're a pitcher in this situation, you don't want a ground ball to the right side like Butler did in the first inning, because it probably would be another run.
Hit high in the air, right center. Schaefer was playing in that direction. He waits. He's got it. Side retired. Sogard is stranded. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It'll be Suzuki, Vargas, and Escobar. 1-0 A's. Suzuki, our old friend. He was drafted by the Athletics in the second round of the 2004 draft. Played with the A's from 07 to 2012 and then came back again in 2013. Hawaiian native had his best year as the Athletics in 2009. 15 home runs and 88 runs batted in that season. Overall 684 games he caught in an Oakland A's uniform. So he's one of our favorites because Kurt is really one of the more genuine, nice ball players that you'll ever meet. He's just a regular Joe.
Yes, he is. Came up in 07 when we were down in Houston. Joined the club and had some great years, and boy, he played hurt many times, and I think in some cases, if not a lot, he was criticized for maybe lack of offense, but he played through injuries that nobody ever knew he had and made it difficult to swing the bat, but tried to stay behind the plate. He did.
I think too, Ray, that season that we talked about, 15 homers, 88 RBIs in 2009, and at that point you're saying, wow, I mean, now you have a run producer who's a pretty good defensive catcher, but he never quite got back to that offensive production. Drives this one toward left center field. Burns on the move, and Billy Burns tracks it down.
There's some speed there. And you saw Leonis Martinez, but how about a flashback and Kurt Suzuki? Fastball down and in, crushed. Jim Scanlon, the hitting coach. That was a walk-off against these Twins, his current club. That familiar number 8. And they're saying, hey, Zook, you hit that ball great to left center, but that guy in center field's got a lot of speed, like Schaefer, their center fielder.
With the shift on, Laurie makes the play right near the shortstop spot. Kenny Vargas is out.
Well, Burns, he's playing in right center. And look how far he had to run and shut it down as he got to left center. Cantor was going over, but Billy Burns, and what a difference a year has made. And we talked about it when he first came up and playing very nicely in Arlington, Texas. Covering a lot of this outfield space here, and he's done a great job. Leading off, covering the ground in center field, and his arms not bad either.
First pitch strike to Eduardo Escobar. Hit hard. Simeon's right there. Jesse Chavez rolls along. He needed just 6 pitches in that inning to finish off the Twins. 6th inning coming up. Reddick to lead it off. 1-0 the A's lead. The Painters. Cool night in Minneapolis with the A's leading 1-0 up on the big scoreboard here. In between innings, they had a local weatherman come on and say, hey, here's the weather forecast for Wednesday and Thursday.
How'd it look?
It said windy and rain, and it said it both days, so we're not real happy about that. Night game tomorrow, day game on Thursday.
But let's not forget, the only trip the A's will make to the Twin Cities during the regular season is right now. That's it. No multiple trips. As the Central teams, just like the A's in the West, you play each team 3 times in your own division. Outside of your division, only 1 home, 1 away. We were lucky last year. It came in April, first week of April.
That's right. We had day games here.
It's all day, and of course the traditional off day after the opener in case it snows it out. But it was beautiful for the series. Just unbelievable weather.
Well, they're having weather issues in Colorado. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies canceled yesterday, canceled again today.
Wow.
So bad weather in Colorado. They'll try to play a doubleheader tomorrow. But even then, you're still down a game with those 2 teams in the same division.
Yeah. That's the key. And
it is. You're right.
It makes it difficult. Of course, Mickey Morabito, the director of team travel, and any thought, I'm sure, as you were saying before the game, Mickey's talking to the personnel of the Twins in the event something might happen. They're going to try to play 2 and start looking at mutual off days, but you don't like that because that means the A's have to fly back in on the way to some other city.
So who knows? Maybe you catch a break. I know when we were in Kansas City on the first road trip, there was a lot of talk about bad weather. And I don't think they'll be playing, and it ended up we got the games in, and it really wasn't too bad. That's a broken bat. Suzuki to first, and they just get Reddick. So Reddick's retired.
Well, that's great pitching. Just like the pitch that got into the hands of Burns broke his bat. This also, and Reddick tried, ball topped in front of the plate, trying to beat it out. Suzuki, though, a very nice play. So Reddick got at least 1 more at bat with a 1-0 game, 1 run. That's looking at 1 more. He needs a hit to keep his streak alive.
Billy Butler goes after the first pitch. Skies one toward Joe Mauer, and Mauer grabs it. So 2 quick outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Rangers still leading the Astros 6-1. That game is now in the 4th inning.
Ryan Dunsing, the left-hander in the bullpen. Every day, Eddie Guardado, the bullpen coach, first year for him, as we mentioned last night. Decisions for managers. Of course, Paul Molitor is a great position player, never had to worry about making pitching changes. And he was talking about Ron Gardenhire. He was his bench coach for him last year, and watching him make the moves and trying to make the right moves with the guys out of the bullpen. And now basically Paul Molitor is the manager, Neil Allen is pitching coach, making those decisions.
A little different deal, huh?
Oh, probably the most difficult job managing, because the pitch count of a starting pitcher, and in the case of this pitcher, his pitch count is approaching 100, which means like what Bert Blyleven said. He said, I wish whoever came with the magical number of 100 would have said 120. Because everybody kind of trains and they look up and they get 85 and 90. So, well, I got 1 more inning maybe, and that's it. But if you said 120, then heck, you got guys that could go maybe an extra inning or 2.
There's no question when the pitch count gets to 100 that, I mean, listen, I mean, I look at it.
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, everybody looks at it. And vote with a walk.
And really, you have to, because it's on the board.
Well, that's true.
They write everything on the board: the velocity, the pitch type, how many pitches. A rare walk for this right-hander, and I think the left-hander Davis coming up. I think Molly's going to make the decision. Got Dunsing warming up, the lefty to face Ike Davis. He didn't make the move last night with Phil Hughes in the 6th, and Hughes came back and club scored him 4. Nice job. When you hit nice job, that means you call.
5 2/3 innings for the rookie Trevor May. So he does a nice job tonight. He leaves trailing 1-0. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
Xfinity when the A's take on the Chicago White Sox. Fans will dress up as their favorite superheroes, and music from iconic shows and movies will accompany the show. Fans can watch from the outfield grass, but as always, on-field capacity is limited. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/fireworks. And like you said last night, 6 fireworks show. 6. And that will start that Saturday night when the Pale Hose, the White Sox, and a good friend, Hawk Harrelson, Steve Stone.
That's right, Hawk Harrelson, the man who flew up the Metrodome.
That's great. I have to ask him about that.
Here's Dunsing, just off the disabled list this past weekend. Had an intercostal strain. He's been a good reliever for the Twins, coming out of that bullpen for a while now.
Yes, he has. You mentioned last night 3 lefties in the Twins bullpen, unlike the 1 lefty the Rangers featured in Arlington over the weekend.
1-1 the count to Davis. Dunsing, 32 years old. So a decent outing for the youngster Trevor May. 101 pitches. He's getting an opportunity.
Rain must be coming in. Fans are moving quickly.
That's not what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Fans are heading up as it is just starting to rain a little bit.
Don't really have to look at the rain, just watch the people and they will tell you what's happening.
Grounded towards center field and into center field. Stephen Vogt will hustle to third and he'll make it. And the A's have first and third now with 2 outs.
Excellent hitting by Ike Davis against the lefty, but just as important, Stephen Vogt getting to third base. And we talk about it, but if you think about the reality of it, there's no reason for an outfielder to try to throw a runner out at third base and put another runner in scoring position. Stephen Vogt recognizing that, hustling to third base, goes into that great feet first slide, pops up and puts him another 90 feet closer to home plate. But if you throw to third, you take the chance Ike Davis trailing into second, 2 runners in scoring position, and so good heads up base running by Stephen Vogt.
So here's Laurie, chance to get the A's another run. First pitch to Laurie is a fastball outside. So a walk and a hit with 2 outs for the A's. And there's another hit to right field, and the A's get an extra run. Vogt trots in to score. Nice job of hitting by Laurie, and it's 2-0.
Coincidentally, both RBI hits with 2 outs going to the right side. And Stephen Vogt with the target outside, or Stephen Vogt scoring on the base hit by Brett Laurie. but perfectly executed. And you don't think so much about it, but look how hard the ball was hit. If Stephen Vogt's at second, there's going to be a play at the plate. So by him going to third base, he can trot in, scoring the second run for the Athletics.
So now Canna hits. And that run charged to May. So the walk to Vogt with 2 outs, which got May out of the game, and that ends up hurting the Twins. Canna tonight, a couple of ground outs, 1 to third, 1 to second. And that a fastball right on the inside corner.
Brett Lawrie, stay healthy because good things like this can happen, and Stephen Vogt trotting in for the second run. So the leadoff walk usually is tough, hard on the pitcher, but a 2-out walk is even worse. And all May could do is sit in the dugout and watch.
Canna swings at a pitch down and in, and that's how the inning ends. So the A's get a run, couple of hits and a walk. So the bottom of the 6th is coming up. It's now 2-0 A's lead.
Two outs. There's the first one. Billy Butler to the opposite field in the first inning, scoring Billy Burns, and then with 2 outs in the top of this inning, a base hit by Brett Lawrie scoring. Stephen Vogt and Jesse Chavez, 6 innings, outstanding pitching for the A's right-hander, trying to duplicate what he did against the Twins last year on April the 9th. He's on his way. 5 great innings so far. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world.
Jesse Chavez has retired 13 out of the last 14. And just 2 hits allowed. Schaefer bunt attempt goes back to the screen. So Chavez rolling along. 2 career starts here at Target Field. We showed you that one from last April. So no walks and 14 strikeouts in 12 innings so far.
The Twins throughout their time, whether at the Metrodome or here, they seem to always have pitchers who throw strikes. Very few, if any, walks. So Jesse fits right into what the Twins teach, and everybody wants to teach that, trying to get hitters to put the ball in play.
Good pitch. Strike 3 called right on the outside corner. 6 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez.
Wow, that was paint. Earlier, Joe Mauer had a similar pitch and was called a ball, but maybe just a tad better on the corner. Played umpire Todd Titchener able to ring him up. Great location.
1 out for Santana. His bunt attempt is popped up. Vogt comes out from behind home plate. He grabs it. 2 outs.
Well, we talked earlier about the bottom part of the batting order last night. 9 hits, 3 hitters. Tonight, whereas Jesse Chavez only given up 2 hits. And that time, Santana tried to drag the ball, got under it. Probably left the box a little bit too quickly, and as a result, dragged his bat through the zone and got under the ball.
So top of the order, Brian Dozier. Dozier a fly ball to center, pop out to short. Dozier now ahead in the count, 2-0. Torrey Hunter a single in the first, Joe Mauer a single in the fourth. Those are the only 2 hits allowed by Jesse Chavez so far. Wow. The rain continues to fall, and it is starting to rain a little bit heavier here at Target Field. 3-0.
They were always, the umpires will always watch the pitcher. If he starts slipping and sliding, then
that's not going that well right now.
It's okay till he took it off and we could see who it was. Try it again.
They're going to reload here.
See, front and back. Let's see. There's a front and there's a back.
Right there, 3-2. That is a full scuffle for that gentleman. Drive to center. Burns back. Burns circles underneath it, makes the catch. Dozier put a charge into it. But that is 7 in a row retired by Jesse Chavez, and we're through 6. 2-0 the A's lead. Collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. Rainy night in Minneapolis. Started raining about a half hour ago. Not hard enough to halt play, which is the good news. 2-0. A's lead, 7th inning. But the umpires talking to the grounds crew in between innings. And when that happens, it usually means that there is some concern about the conditions. Quick 0-2 to Sogard. Sogard, Burns, and Simeon for the A's here in the 7th.
Now, Bob Melvin was also, I guess, explained the situation. And usually, the head groundskeeper will say what the forecast is. Right now, it's heavy rain. Just a question how heavy and how it's going to affect the field.
Sogard's got a couple of singles tonight, one in the third and one in the fifth. And he swings at a good Dunsing slider. So one out here in the seventh.
I think that Dunsing does here is slider thrown hard. Starts towards the outside quarter of the plate and breaks off the plate.
So top of the order for the switch hitter Burns. Burns rifles one toward the dugout of the Twins. Bounces back onto the field. Rangers leading the Astros 7-1 in the bottom of the fifth inning. Burns toward left center, and Escobar can't get it. It's picked up by Schaefer, and Burns makes a big turn. He'll stay there. So Escobar, the left fielder, had a long ways to go, just could not quite get there. And luckily for the Twins, the ball didn't go by him.
Yeah, it must have checked up almost like the bunt last night by Billy Burns, but from the right side, similar to the left. He was running almost like maybe he thought it's going to be caught once it got past, but you're right, Schaefer backing up, and Burns had to get back to first. Thought that might be an easy double for him.
Well, Billy Burns continues to do his thing. This is his fourth consecutive start since being called up. He got called up Saturday, was in the lineup on Saturday. So he's played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and tonight. He's now got 7 hits and 18 at-bats this year.
And the A's have hit a few home runs, Cat, but I think as we discussed in the early part of the season, Bob Melvin's going to try to think of ways of manufacturing runs, and speed is one way to do it. And tonight's speed has helped.
Simeon into right field for a base hit. We're seeing some good at-bats by the A's tonight. Simeon has his first hit.
Really been getting under some of the balls that hits to center field. And a couple of at-bats in between had a walk, but that is a great job. Opposite field line drive. Torhammer playing shallow, still no chance to get to it.
So now Dunsing will go after Reddick. Red Sox shut out the Rays in Boston 2-0. So finally a good pitching performance by Red Sox. Porcello got the win. He beat Smiley.
Neil Allen, the pitching coach. Rick Anderson, longtime pitching coach. Tom Kelly and Ron Gardenhire. Lefty righty in the Twins bullpen. So Neil Allen buying a little extra time.
Veteran of 11 major league seasons, Neil Allen.
Josh Reddick is fourth at bat. And for Reddick against the right-hander May, he pulled off some pitches, and he had pretty good pitches to hit. And maybe against a lefty, he'll stay in a little bit longer and drive a ball and keep his hit streak alive.
First pitch popped up. So infield fly rule is called. And so Reddick is retired. He's 0 for 4. So one out here in the 7th inning. If you're looking for the best coverage of Oakland A's baseball, log on to CSNCalifornia.com as our A's insider Joe Stiglitz provides wire-to-wire reporting of the A's 2015 season. It's going to give you breaking news, video, special features, and more only on CSNCalifornia.com. Looks like we're going to have a pitch change here at Target Field with Butler coming up. You can get the right-hander when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and break. experts. A's leading 2-0.
Day, May 25th, for a special holiday matinee as the A's take on the Detroit Tigers at 1:05 p.m. that afternoon. 15,000 fans will get an A's road cap presented by Comerica Bank. Get your tickets now by calling 877-493-BALL or visit athletics.com/tickets. That's the road cap, the green with the white and gold trim A's. American flag on the side. Good looking cap.
7th inning, A's trying to add on to their 2-0 lead as Michael Tonkin comes in. He was just called up from the minor leagues on Thursday. Casey Fine, pretty good setup man. Right-hander on the disabled list for the Twins, and when he went on the disabled list, Tonkin was called up. So just his 3rd appearance. He did make 25 appearances last year out of the bullpen for the Twins. Tonkin comes in to face Butler. First pitch is a fastball at 93 for a strike. Billy Butler 2 for 3, knocked in a run with a single back in the 1st, then he singled again in the 4th. Then he popped to 1st in the 6th. So maybe Billy Butler starting to pull out of that funk that he's been in.
Hitters will always tell you if they're opening up too much and getting away from their game of staying closed and going opposite field. Usually you think opposite field, that will correct a lot of flaws. As you say, when you see the belt buckle, that's not good.
That's not good.
And Billy Butler is not a belt buckle kind of hitting guy.
No.
He's one that goes straight. You see the left hip, and that's usually right back of the pitcher, which means line drive to right center.
Stephen Vogt will be next. 2-1 pitched. Tap toward 3rd. Tough play by Plouffe. He'll go to 1st, and he's got it. So Plouffe handles that short hop. So Tonkin gets Butler, and the side is retired. 7th inning stretch coming up. 2-0 A's lead.
and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Hey, we got Sportsnet Central. It's coming up tonight. It's brought to you by Hyundai, and it's at 10:30. It'll be over on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Lots of highlights and clubhouse reaction from this game and Game 2, Grizzlies Warriors. We'll have all the highlights and post-game reaction and analysis. So Game 2 coming up tonight in the Warriors semifinal series. And then Fareed, David Feldman will host. So busy night. Bay Area sports.
Great thing about Jesse Chavez, he just saw pitch number 64, and that is outstanding as he makes the first pitch in the 7th inning. Averaging about 10 pitches, 63 through 6. So that's
about as good as you're going to get.
That is excellent. I mean, the optimum is 908 pitches for a complete game. That's unusual, but you see the distribution. 6 strikeouts, 3 away from it, tying his career high twice last year. Back-to-back starts, number 2 and number 3. Starting against the Twins, the Angels.
Trying to get Torrey Hunter leading off the bottom of the 7th. Hunter, Mauer, and Plouffe, so 2, 3, 4 in this Twins order. Chavez has retired 7 in a row. To pitch, hit in the hole and into left field. A little bit of a hanger on 0-2, and Torrey Hunter has his second hit. He's got 2 of the 3 hits for the Twins.
Stephen Vogt moved way outside of the 0-2 trying to get him to chase, but a curveball is a pitch that if it's going to hang, this is the type. It starts, stays right in the middle of the plate, buckled the knee slightly of Torrey Hunter, but able to be quick enough to find the hole. And Jesse knew it. Sometimes when you try to bounce a pitch, it makes it a little difficult to not bounce the curveball.
So here's Joe Mauer. Mauer takes a fastball for a strike. Strikeout and a single for Mauer. So in this series, he's now 1 for 6. Chavez cleaning the spikes a little bit.
Get all the mud caked on the bottom of your shoes. The cleats don't have any traction.
Late call strike, 0-2. As of now, looks like the rain is stopped pretty much.
Surprisingly, this was a late call. Todd Tishner, backdoor cut fastball. That's an ongoing issue right there. Tongue depressor getting the mud out of the cleats. Last thing you want to do as a pitcher is try to plant the foot in hydroplane. Just keep slipping and sliding. Jesse or Jay Alvarez last night did it, and there wasn't the rain that we've seen tonight.
0-2 pitch right on the outside corner, strike 3 called, the perfect pitch.
Three pitches and 3 perfectly thrown fastballs, and that was perfect. And earlier, Joe Mauer took the pitch a little bit more off the plate. Couldn't believe this one was called, but it was, and a great pitch, great location.
So 7 strikeouts for Jesse, and now he faces Plouffe. He's got Plouffe twice. Both times swinging.
I would think during or between innings, the ground crew will come out and put some of the turfus on the field, especially the mound at home plate, maybe.
Some of the fans are walking back down to their seats. Not a lot of them, but a few of them. Good share of them have headed out into the Minneapolis night.
Do they provide paper towels or towels to wipe the seat when they go back to the seats they vacated?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Was it wet? Except the guy tried to put the thing over his head. He stayed in his seat.
2-0 pitch in for a strike to Plouffe. He had so much trouble putting that on and taking it off. My guess is he could sleep in that thing tonight just so he doesn't have to wrestle with it anymore.
But he's smart enough to put his cap underneath the pontoon.
Outside now 3-1. Kurt Suzuki is the on deck hitter. Still only 74 pitches for Chavez. They're starting to stretch a little bit out in the A's bullpen, not a lot, and the pitch is outside, and Plouffe is aboard. So, really, for the first time, a rally for the Twins. First time they've had 2 runners on in an inning.
You have to wonder, and Chavez continues to try to get the mud out from under his cleats, and because he overthrew that pitch, and I just wonder if the stride got to him as he took his stride and wanted to make sure that he did finish. And he has been so much around the plate tonight. To see him overthrow a fastball as he did on the 3-1, that's just different for him in this half inning.
So it will be Scribner with 1 out here in the 7th. First pitch to Suzuki is hit towards center. Burns has it. Torrey Hunter's going to tag. He will hustle into third. Suzuki goes after the first pitch, flies out. So 2 outs. Runners are now at first and third.
Now that's great pitching. Suzuki is upset with himself, but really that's great pitching to have any kind of a hitter hit a ball straight away center. Of course, Suzuki after the walk looked for first pitch fastball, got it, but couldn't do much with it.
So now it's Kenys Vargas is the man that Jesse Chavez has to get. Lots of power. Be careful here. And he got one to hit and he popped it up. Canna is there and he's got it. So a couple of runners stranded. We're moving to the 8th inning. It's 2-0. The A's lead the Twins.
because 15,000 fans will receive a pair of A's branded mustache socks driven by Chevrolet. Get your tickets now by calling 877-493-BALL, or you can visit athletics.com/tickets, and we advise you to do it because that's a classy pair of socks that you will receive on that beautiful Sunday afternoon at the Coliseum.
I'm looking forward to getting back to the Coliseum.
Yes.
When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. Aaron Thompson, the left-hander, we saw him last night. He threw 20 pitches, gave up a run. And he faces Vogt, Davis, and Laurie here in the 8th inning. And we're celebrating Cinco de Mayo in Minneapolis. How about that?
Yes, we are. Had the music in the clubhouse, had the music in the PA system here.
Yes, they did, right as we walked in. Good food in the lunchroom. No 2-pitch, and that's out number 1 here in the 8th inning. I don't know, Ray, if you're a big Cinco de Mayo celebration kind of guy. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, you're going to show that picture.
You could be. I don't know. I don't know.
I knew you were going to show that.
We were going to get you.
Yeah. I have no idea what the story was on that. It had to be in the A's in the 70s, probably in spring training.
I like it.
I don't know.
You look good.
Boy. I know my daughter Lindsay's probably going to say, Dad, when are they going to get rid of that shot? You know?
No.
And
it's good stuff.
Yeah, when we go to Cleveland, you're really going to bring it out, too. You're going to talk to Bobby DiBiasio, and they're going to bring out some of those Steve McQueen shots.
We like seeing you in the A's uniform. It makes us feel good. Want everybody to know what a good player you were.
You know, I'm trying to remember when I donned the sombrero. I have no idea. I don't remember that.
Sometimes you got to look at the picture, maybe the back, maybe there's something in the background. See if it's a spring training stadium.
But, you know, Cinco de Mayo is a regular season.
That's true. Yeah.
That's the surprising thing, unless somebody just gave me one during spring and I put it on. I don't know.
I'm sure there was a good reason at the time.
I have no idea, but maybe somebody who took the photograph. I don't know if Duck McWilliams took that one. I know he did all the great postcards back in the 70s and ducked it into the Spring Training Hall of Fame this past spring.
Right back to Aaron Thompson. So Ike Davis 1 for 4 after the ground out. 2 away here in the top of the 8th inning. And now Laurie will hit. Laurie had a big hit in the 6th inning. 2-out RBI hit. He hit one hard into right field.
You're right about Brett Laurie, and especially where he hit the ball cap to opposite field, to right field, a fastball away, didn't try to pull it. And I think that's what we've seen from a young man who's very powerful and very capable of pulling the ball and hitting home runs. Smart enough hitter also that you pitch him outside, he'll take it to the opposite field. And none bigger than the Friday night 2-run double against Phillies in Arlington, start this road trip. And he's a big 7-run 8th inning to come back.
Well, he's not the kind of guy that's going to take a whole lot off his swing. But we've seen the ability to hit the ball hard to right field.
And really, I think from that point, it's a matter of the location. He'll swing hard, but if it's away, he'll still swing hard and sometimes be a little bit late, and that's why the ball shoots to right field.
2-0 pitch taken all the way.
Here's Friday night, and the fastball over his head. 9-pitch at bat against Phillies. That would bring home a couple. And the A's took the lead with the 7 runs. Of course, Mark Canha brought in the 7th.
That one hit very high to right field. Torrey Hunter in a couple steps. He's got it. So a good inning for the lefty, Aaron Thompson. So bottom of the 8th coming up. A's hanging on to a 2-0 lead. to you by your local Toyota dealers. 2-9-0 for the A's, 0-3-0 for the Twins. Jesse Chavez has been terrific. He's back out there for the bottom of the 8th. Laurie with an RBI single, and Billy Butler with an RBI single. And Trevor May pitched into the 6th inning. He did a decent job for the Twins. So Jesse Chavez back to work. 77 pitches as he faces the bottom 3 in the Twins lineup. Escobar takes low. Escobar, Schaefer, and Santana are the 3 hitters. Escobar, a fly out and a ground out. He was a major thorn in the A's side. Last night, Escobar was 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. Little flare. Laurie into foul territory, grabs it, 1 out.
What does that tell you about his velocity? He's able to throw it that hard to jam a hitter.
So they played the Macarena in between innings, and Ray and I laughed very hard because you think Macarena, you think laughing, having a good time, but this couple, they did the serious Macarena, and the guy just cracked me up. Yeah, right there. Answer the phone, honey. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Left center, and that'll get down for a hit. So Schaefer with a base hit. Come on, we got a serious ball game here. We can't be laughing about the Macarena. So hit number 4.
The good news about this, Schaefer with excellent speed that Chavez, even though he gave a hit, great job, Mark Canna getting to the ball and cutting it off. Remember, it rained pretty hard for a couple of innings, so it might have softened the outfield. Ball checked up. He was able to get to it and keep the speedster at first. And of course, that was Escobar.
It's like Scribner is ready to go when called on. He was throwing a little bit last inning, moving around out there, but he's probably ready. Presley is in Twins bullpen, which is right above the A's bullpen.
Did a nice job with the double tier pin in left center.
First pitch to Santana, just missed. Danny Santana is 0 for 2. Last night, he was 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. And Laurie inching in on the grass a little bit. Santana with the ability to bunt. Top of the order, Dozier waiting in the on-deck circle. Up and away, 2-1. And Jesse Chavez has just been terrific tonight. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. And you just hope he can leave the mound on a high note.
Yeah. Like a complete back in the dugout in the 8th inning. You're right, Ken, because that is such a great outing. He went 7 last April the 9th here against the Twins. Of course, his pitch got a little bit higher than tonight. That was his 2nd start of the season. Kurt Young, A's pitching coach, and knowing that trying to get the bullpen squared away, he knows also that Jesse Chavez, one of the important members in the bullpen, but tonight, and he has been now making 3 consecutive starts.
Quick throw to first. I think in a perfect world, Ray, at this point with the bullpen, the A's would like to have Otero in the 7th, Scribner in the 8th, Clippard in the 9th.
Right. Doolittle comes back. You back everybody down and get back to the bullpen they expected to have.
Now that's if the game, if A's are winning the game and lines up that way. Tonight, the good news is Chavez has pitched into the 8th inning. Foul back. So now 3-2. Schaefer has very good speed at first. We'll see if he goes.
And when you're at the pitch count where Jesse Chavez is, and you can still get a little bit extra on a 3-1 when they're looking fastball, 3-2 again when they're doing that as Dozier waits. Strike him out, throw him out earlier with Mauer throwing out Torrey Hunter with Stephen Vogt. Well, Paul Molitor as a player, an excellent player. I don't know that he ever hit a 3-2 when the runner was not running, because he knew the expectation, put the ball in play. And as a manager, you hope and expect the same thing from your players.
Not running. And the ball's bounced to Davis. Davis to second, and he throws it away. Schaefer's going to try for third. He will make it, and a costly mistake by the A's. I want to say, Ray, it looked like he may have thought about stepping on first.
He should have stepped on first and then gotten the out at second if possible. If not, but get the one out for sure, because look how close he is to the bag. To step back 1 foot, and then he might have still had time. But then I think the old Santa tried to do too much and then did not throw it, and coming off the bag, fortunately backing up was Martin Canha, because he got the ball back in to keep Santana at first. Wow.
So now it's first and third, one out. Jesse Chavez leaves, and Scribner's coming in. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and brake experts.
Let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
So Jesse Chavez, 7 1/3 innings tonight. He was terrific. And then you're going to have to sit back and hold his breath a little bit. Scribner comes in first and third, one out. And Brian Dozier steps up. Dozier is 0 for 3. He's hit a couple of fly balls to center field and a pop out to short.
Now, like Davis again, hindsight, step on the bag and see the runner going kind of inside in the event there was going to be a throw to second, which there was.
Dozier down the left field line. Foul. He got well out ahead of it. It's a long strike, 0-1.
Hanging curveball, and while you want to start a hitter, maybe not the fastball, but you don't want to hang one, especially when you have an outstanding cut fastball, which Scribner does. And they are concerned about the young man at first base, because I think the Twins might be playing a little bit like the Angels, where if they have speed, they're not going to sit back and wait. They're going to utilize the speed they have. Chavez.
He's got a couple steals, and nice play by Vogt. That ball was past him. He had to reach back, and he got it.
Well, a cutter here, but watch the backhand. Sometimes you don't have time to get in front of the ball. And Stephen Vogt did not. And you use the backhand, you become an infielder, and he played that perfectly.
Santana with his lead, not running, and it's a good breaking ball, and Dozier swings over top, and now it's 1-2.
That's the new foul cut fastball. The previous one was in the dirt, this one low, but I think Dozier had sights on a little bit more with that cutter.
Dozier is able to lay off that time. So the count now 2-2. Keep an eye on Santana. He had 20 steals last year. Infield right at double play depth, outfield deep.
Really a wet track. The infield would not think it would slow down or affect anybody who might be attempting to steal. Those throw always coming from that man, Bob Melvin, as he gives the signs to Stephen Vogt.
Yeah, pretty good take that time by Dozier. And the ball drops low, and now it's a full count, and now you got to believe Santana will be going.
And if he does, this is a time that Stephen Vogt will throw through, and you know, you take the chance because you do not want to put the potential tying run into scoring position. If you have a chance to throw him out, if it is a strike him out.
There he goes. The ball's tapped at home plate. So we'll do the 3-2 again.
And you have to make the runner stop. That was a quick pitch by Scribner, but it did give Santana a chance to get a running start towards second base.
So Clifford is up, and I don't think Bob Melvin will be afraid to use him early if he has to. That's a base hit center field. Just flipped right over the infield. Run comes in to score. All the way around to third is Santana. And now it's 2-1. Dozier just got enough to get it over the infield for an RBI single.
And he broke his back doing it, and you're right, Cut. Here comes, it looks like Clifford. Good cut fastball into the bat, just softly enough. And you can hear the bat breaking, but the result was exactly what the Twins had hoped. Santana easily to third base. Jesse did everything he could. There's nothing on Jesse Chavez.
So Scribner faces one batter, and now it's the closer, and the A's need 5 outs from Clifford. One out, so A's closer Tyler Clifford comes in here in the 8th inning. to face Torrey Hunter.
A's need one of two things, or any one of a strikeout or a double play ground ball. You take the double play to get out of the inning. The strikeout would continue, but still would have first and third. And the thing about this part of the batting order, you have the veteran part of the order. Torrey Hunter and Joe Mauer behind him, Plouffe behind him. The A's will play for two. You get Torrey Hunter, who is always aggressive, hit the ball on the ground, and somebody could get out of the inning.
A couple of hits tonight for Torrey Hunter. First pitch, Torrey Hunter lays off that changeup and it drops low.
Fastball down and in. Well, you could say it's a good pitch. He hit it down the left field line, crushed it. Shortest distance here at the park, Target Field. So 2 balls on the ground between third and short. Needs to hit one at third or short.
Fastball just missed.
Taking those 2 pitches like he's taking a strike. He was not going to be overly aggressive on the first pitch changeup, and that fastball, it's like he wanted to make sure he threw a strike and was not going to be swinging at it.
Santana at third, Dozier at first. And that one's popped up. Davis coming over near the dugout, and it's right on top of the dugout.
See, when you need the Coliseum, you don't get it. It's out there. It's an out in Oakland. But we talk about it often. No foul territory here at Target Field. Very, very little. I mean, really, you leave the dugout as a catcher, you run about 3 steps and you're behind home plate. Hitters very close. Torrey Hunter gets another swing.
Clifford's ready, 2-1. Swing and a miss. Good changeup. Just never got there.
No. Fastball fouled back, and they pulled the string, and to get that big of a motion and then pull the string on a changeup, you're going to fool a lot of hitters, and just fool one of the best on that 2-strike or 1-strike pitch. Now 2 strikes. Basically 2 pitches, occasionally a curveball, but mostly fastball changeups.
High, and Torrey Hunter thought about going after it. So now it's a full count. We'll see what the Twins do with Dozier, the runner at first.
Well, that was a hanging curveball, or a curveball really didn't break. Well, you'd have to think he's going to pull the string on the changeup. It's a fastball count. So you go change up and hope to get a swing and miss from Torrey Hunter.
Dozier not running. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball.
Yes, he did. He blew it by him. Blew it by him. He's looking back. Torrey knows that's down the middle, right down the middle. And when you have a hitter, it's in between fastball changeup. And Torrey Hunter started and just late, almost as if he's thinking like I was, like he's going to get a changeup, and that's tough because the changeup is so well thrown by Tyler Clippard, and now another big at bat.
And that would be Joe Mauer, who has struck out, singled, and struck out. First pitch changeup low at 77 miles an hour.
And you know, Jack, with a changeup to this guy, he waits back so long. That's the problem with him, with facing him, because he does wait back so long. Just hope if he waits long enough that he hits the ball straight up in the air.
.1-0 pitch. Here it is. Low. 2-0. Trevor Plouffe is the on-deck hitter. Feels like the 9th inning. It's only the bottom of the 8th, folks. So 2-0. Be careful here. And a 2-0 changeup, and it was hittable.
See how he waited?
He did, yeah.
And while we were talking earlier, I mentioned about home runs from Joe Mauer, but he's very dangerous in these situations. That's why he hit third, because he's an excellent hitter. Just might not provide the power that at least he did at the Metrodome.
Inside and low, and now it's 3-1.
Through a 2-0 changeup, fouled it back. It's got a 3-1 count.
And that's a fastball right at the knees, strike 2.
And you know what he's looking for there, and he didn't get it. He was thinking fastball, 2-0, 3-1, thinking the same thing, because he took a fastball right down the middle. And now he's got him in between. He could go back to the fastball, he could throw the changeup. And they're both going to look exactly the same. And here's your 50-50 chance, your guessing game between hitter and pitcher, especially hitter.
Here's the 3-2, and it's hit in the air, left field, playable, and it was a changeup. So Tyler Clippard does a terrific job. The Twins get 1, and we're going to the 9th. It's the A's 2 and the Twins 1. From Target Field, Scott Kazmir and Kyle Gibson. Coverage begins at 4:30 with A's pregame live, and you'll get complete A's coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. The home of A's baseball is Comcast Sportsnet. So that's Game 3 tomorrow. So a little excitement in the bottom of the 8th inning, but Tyler Clippard does a terrific job. And now for the Twins, it's Ryan Presley, his second appearance. I've seen him in the big leagues, back and forth the last couple of years, in the minor leagues and the big leagues for the Twins. Canna hits a high pop-up. It'll be playable for Mauer. And he's got it in foul territory. So Canna is 0 for 4. So now Sogard hits.
Hey, great. The A's could get an insurance run or two. If not, It's 4, 5, and 6 for the Twins in the bottom of the ninth. The A's a 1-run lead. That's a big out, Joe Mauer, because they do so many things, but sometimes hitters try to gauge, evaluate what's going to be happening, especially on a 3-2. Fortunately, it worked for the A's.
Sogard's 2 for 3 tonight. 2 singles and a strikeout. Went a little bit low from Ryan Presley. He's the 4th reliever used tonight for Paul Molitor. So in the 9th inning, in the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be Plouffe, Suzuki, and Vargas, the 3 scheduled hitters for the Twins. Off the foot of Sogard, that'll hurt.
Cut fastball, and that, when you get the back foot, it's not good, and that's when it hurts, because you usually expect the front foot, but he got him in the back.
Curve slap to left field, where Escobar is back there. He's got it, 2 outs. Rangers continue to lead the Astros big 7-1. That game now in the 9th inning. The Angels are underway. They lead the Mariners 2-1 in the 2nd inning. Well, here's Billy Burns, top of the order. Burns, pitch strike.
Yankees are still rolling. The Blue Jays still struggling.
A little bit. Yankees just won 6-3. Yankees now 17-10.
It's amazing how off-season moves and paper doesn't always guarantee wins. Huh?
Well, I think you're right. And listen, it's fun to talk about, right? I mean, fun to talk about the teams that did a lot. I always. I just felt like sometimes be careful doing too much.
That's right. Or as you say, sometimes the best moves are those you don't make.
Or and when I say too much, I mean big signings.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, spending lots of money.
Yeah, the Red Sox put themselves in that position, trying to go from last to first, from last to first again. Somebody said the snow finally melted in Boston. Oh man, they had a ton of snow in the offseason. Winter, offseason for baseball, winter time.
And Billy Burns strikes out swinging. So Presley has a good inning, and we're going to the bottom of the 9th. The folks that are here are making some noise. 2-1 lead.
because he deserves it. Jesse Chavez, that was a strike him out, throw him out. Chavez, just a tremendous pitching performance as he went 7 1/3 innings and without the air. Might have finished the 8th inning, but came out in the 8th and turns it over to the bullpen. Just one walk and maybe footwork, or his feet slipping out from under with all the mud, with the rain, a couple of innings, 7 strikeouts. A's lead at 2-1. That's Jesse Chavez's game as we head to the 9th inning with Tyler Clippard back out to try to get it done.
And he'll face the cleanup man Plouffe to lead it off, then Suzuki and Vargas. Clippard threw 12 pitches in that 8th inning. And the first pitch in for a strike. Got a couple of huge outs. Sam Fuld is in the game in left field. So Canna's out, Fuld is in. Where that baseball came from, but it was sitting in the third base coach's box. So 0-1 to Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe has struck out twice and he has walked. There's 5 hits for the Twins, 9 hits for the A's. There's been 1 error in the game. That was by Ike Davis. Simeon scoops it up, flips to first, 1 away.
Trying to pull a changeup. That's a great thing to see if you're a pitcher. And on this wet grass, muddy dirt, Marcus Simeon handled it flawlessly. That's good. Changeup, watch Plouffe get out, try to pull it, and if you could stay back and go to the opposite field, that's the best case scenario for a hitter. But that's exactly what a pitcher wants, is to see a hitter try to pull the changeup in the outside part of the plate.
So 1 out for Suzuki. Fastball high to Kurt.
These guys were teammates in Washington. Remember Gordon Lakey, great scout for the Phillies, talking about how Suzuki was able to handle the pitching staff of the Nationals when he was traded to Washington. One of those, Tyler Clippard, who I think at the time when he went there was the closer. So I'd say he's a little familiar with his ability to throw the changeup, especially anytime. And it's a good one.
Another 1-1. Here it is. Hit high in the air to right field, but playable. So he got him with a fastball. Reddick squeezes it, 2 outs.
It's the old saying, how does this guy pitch? You caught him. I have no idea. Because he caught him. And it's always really more of a cat and mouse game if you've caught a pitcher and change teams and you're facing him and then try to figure out what he's going to do. Biggest hitter in the game right here for a number of reasons. And that's how the A's are going to play him, to pull, to shift, and deep in the outfield.
First pitch to Vargas, changeup in there for a strike, 0-1. So 2 real good changeups. One a taken strike, and that one a kind of a breakdown of the swing by Vargas.
A bit of a flip.
So 0-2. He's 1 out away from a big win.
High fastball.
Went in, ran in a little bit. Simeon now slides over to the right side of second base. Laurie moves over right to the shortstop spot. Simeon actually did that almost right during the windup. Not a bad way to disrupt the hitter. 1-2 pitch, here it is. Fastball spins Vargas around.
Well, up and in, it did spin him, but you'd have to think with those fastballs up, try to get him to chase. He did not. Would he go back to changeup, and would Vargas sit on it? Down and away is the target. Change up guy.
And that was a dandy, and that's how the ball game ends. So Tyler Clippard gets 5 outs tonight, and he picks up his 3rd save of the year. Terrific performance by Clippard, and a terrific performance by Jesse Chavez, who gets his 1st win of the year. So give Jesse the win, give Clippard